signs that are subtle, right? They are not, you don't easily see them or notice them. Subtle manifestation of low self-esteem. Sometimes they even disguise as though it is strength, but in reality it is low self-esteem. So now I'll talk about that a little bit. Number one, I said inability to apologize or ask for forgiveness is also a developmental issue, is a show of low self-esteem. If you, on the surface, when you think about it, you think that somebody who doesn't apologize to people is a strong person, Abi? People who find it difficult to admit that they are wrong and say sorry or apologize for what they have done are people who are suffering from low self-esteem. It's a manifestation of low self-esteem. So you see a man has offended his wife, instead of telling her he's sorry, right? He can't tell her he's sorry because he feels telling her he's sorry reduces him. That's because he's already low. So instead of saying I'm sorry, you just, if he has the money, you just send her money. You go to the GT bank and send her money. Then you say, see what I sent to you. Check your phone. Low self-esteem. Instead of, you can still do that. You can still send the money and say sorry, right? You can, but then that's his way of saying sorry. Low self-esteem. People who bully others. The people who suffer the most, right? Now, obviously, their victims suffer low self-esteem over time because of consistent bullying, and I already mentioned that. But even the person who is bullying another person, it is because in the inside he is a small person. In the inside, he is because of his low self-esteem. That is his way of covering his low self-esteem. Bullies, right? It's a disguise of low self-esteem. So it's not obvious, it's subtle. So you think, when you're looking at it on the surface, you think the guy is strong. No, he's not strong. The reason he's looking for somebody to pray on so as to further assure himself that he is okay. Making sense to you? So if I can look down on you and make you feel small, I feel better. That's a bully. That's because already I am not feeling okay with myself. So I need to find somebody to project upon, so that person, when I make the person feel lower, then I feel okay. It's low self-esteem, bullying, or beating down on others. Feelings of being unloved, unwanted, or being worthless. When you see somebody who is overwhelmed with negative thoughts, right? Somebody who is being drawn to destructive relationships. Low self-esteem. I think I mentioned that already. So the first boyfriend is a bitter. Then before you know it, the next boyfriend is also a bitter. The third one too is a bitter. The same thing, low self-esteem. Because you continuously attract. See, your choices are a reflection of how you see yourself. Can I say that again? Your choices are a reflection of how you see yourself. People who have problems saying no and defining boundaries. It's low self-esteem too. You think he's a nice person and he will go out of his way and do everything for you. Low self-esteem. It's disguised. It looks as though it's a nice thing, right? But people who have a problem with saying no, right? Oftentimes, and now listen to me, I'm not saying be a mean, a bad person or somebody who is not helpful. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are people who would inconvenience themselves, feel bad about what they are doing, but still not be able to tell the other person no. That's low self-esteem in manifestation, even though it is subtle. Is that okay? Alright. Now, there's such a thing as excessive self-esteem. This is also a problem with poor self-esteem. So low self-esteem is poor, that we understand, but there are some people who it looks as though they have excessive self-esteem. Excessive self-esteem is not healthy either. It's a form of poor self-esteem. So this kind of person has an unrealistic or overly elevated self-concept. Right? And this may be as unhealthy or as negative as as being having a negative one. So this person, he's gone from, okay, there's something I didn't tell you. See, self-esteem is on a continuum. It's on a what? A continuum. What that means is that it's not this or that. So self-esteem starts from negative self-esteem, right? And then go all the way to positive self-esteem, and then it can go all the way to excessive self-esteem and go into narcissism. Can I say that again? So it is a continuum, right? All the way from negative to positive, right? To excessive to narcissism. And I'll talk about that a little bit. So now you find somebody who is not, and that's the problem of development also. He's not positive, he has become excess. It manifests itself as arrogance. Arrogance. Actually, that's what it is. So it is negative, positive, arrogance, narcissism. Now, arrogance is when a person's self-concept veers off from reality. So you are so positive about yourself that now you're not realistic about yourself anymore. You have veered off from reality, and you have become, your concept of yourself has become a dominant force in your life. Right? So you might assume that too much self-esteem is what leads to an inflated ego, right? Or arrogance. But that's not the case. What actually happens is that this type of tendency, right, or narcissistic self-concept is not a natural progression from healthy self-esteem. Right? Healthy self-esteem is when you value yourself, right, but you don't value yourself above others. Hello? That's healthy self-esteem. When you don't value yourself and you value others above you, that is unhealthy self-esteem. That's negative. See? When you value yourself but not above others, that is healthy. When you begin to value yourself above others, that's arrogance. High self-esteem is not being egoistical or thinking about yourself as being infallible or better than others. So when I say somebody has a high sense of self-esteem, it does not mean that the person is egoistic. The person doesn't think himself better than other people. No. The person thinks healthy about themselves, but does not necessarily think he's healthier than every other person. Amen. It's just like when we were talking about self-love, right? We talked about self-love. When we're talking about self-love, I tried to differentiate between self-love and selfishness. And I said self-love is you loving yourself, right? Like you love others. So equally the way you love others. Selfishness is you loving yourself above others. So putting yourself above others, that's selfishness. Not caring about others, that's selfishness. Same thing. When you say somebody has excessive high self-esteem, it's not that the person thinks highly about themselves. No, it's that the person thinks highly about themselves more than other people. When he puts himself against another person. So now, because I think that I am better than a rookie, I think I can teach rookie anyhow. That's where arrogance comes into place. When I think I'm better than a rookie, I think I cannot apologize to rookie. That's unhealthy in itself. So it is actually a function of how the way you think about yourself or the way you love yourself, right? How it causes you to behave towards others. That's what differentiates between high, healthy self-esteem and excessive self-esteem. Am I making sense to you or am I confusing you? And there are people like that. So they are not in the gutters. They are not suffering, feeling as though they are like ants, right? That's not what they are thinking about. They see themselves as if they can conquer the world. And every other person in this world is an ant to be crushed. Hello? If they stand in my way. A person with healthy self-love loves themselves as they love others. A person with a healthy self-esteem thinks highly of themselves and they think highly of others also. Arrogance describes a person who focuses primarily on themselves, considers themselves more important or worthwhile than others, and often doesn't even think about how their actions impact those around them. That's arrogance. When you don't care about others and about the way they feel because you believe that you are better than all of them, that's actually arrogance. And it can be argued that what looks like too much self-esteem is actually the opposite. It is poor self-esteem in natural sense. Those with excessive self-esteem may be preoccupied with being perfect. So they have moved from I am not perfect to being obsessed with being perfect. And often it is because that feeling of that sense of I am not perfect, has so much overwhelmed them. Now the way they are fighting it is become obsessed with being perfect. They may focus on being right every time, which also, you see, I don't want to be wrong. Everything I do has to be right. So now I don't even want to do things, which is a sign of low self-esteem in reality. So we're saying in this place that it looks as though the person is strong, but in reality, the person is actually weak. They may believe that they cannot fail. See people like that, cannot fail. There's nobody that cannot fail. Hello? They might have, grandiose ideas of themselves. Hitler. I mean, you know Hitler, right? Even if you don't know him very, Adolf Hitler, you must have heard his name before. That's a perfect example. Actually, it's a perfect example of a narcissist. Beyond arrogance. When self-esteem is too high, it can result in relationship problems. And that's what we're talking about in this place. How your self-esteem affects your relationship. It can result in relationship problems and difficulty with social situation. Because if you are a kind of person who believes that you can't make mistakes, right? Or you are perfect, then you cannot accept feedback. Hello? Then you cannot tell her you are sorry or tell him you are sorry when you have done wrong. And there are people who are in relationship with people like that. With narcissists. They are perfect. It's always about them. Right? It's always about them. If you two of you sit down and you're talking, the only talk that you talk about them. If it's not talk about them, they're not interested in the talk. When they do you wrong, they cannot say they are sorry for the wrong that they have done. You have to be the one to come and tell them you are sorry for the wrong that they have done. You are dealing with either an arrogant person, right, who has excessive self-esteem, which is a disguise of poor self-esteem in reality, or you are dealing with a narcissist. And you are dealing with a narcissist, you better run. Yes, sir. You better run. Because you will see that narcissism goes a step above being arrogant, right? Narcissism goes a step above being arrogant. So we look at narcissism as against being arrogant. So overly high self-esteem is often misplaced or mislabeled as narcissism. However, there are some distinct traits that differentiate these terms. Narcissism is a mental disorder. Remember I told you low self-esteem is not a mental disorder. But narcissism is a mental disorder. It is a hyper distortion of low self-esteem. So when you see somebody who you say has excessive or who is arrogant, right? It's actually a distortion of self-esteem, of low self-esteem. But somebody who is a narcissist, it's hyper. And I said Hitler is a prime example of a narcissist. Somebody who is a narcissist can go all the way to prove that he is better than you, even if it means hurting you. Hello? That's why I say if you are in a relationship with somebody like that, you need to bail. You need to do what? Bail. What was Hitler's problem? Hitler believed that and you see, Hitler was somebody who had a lot of problems growing up as a child. So that sense of low self-esteem graduated into arrogance, became narcissism. So now he has to prove to the whole world that he is better. Now, a narcissist believes that he should only relate with people who are at a certain level. That's a narcissist. and that he can only be understood by people who are at a certain level, special people. I am special, only special people can relate with me, only special people can understand me. So when you don't understand me, it's not because I have a problem, it's because you have a problem. You are not a special person, I am a special. That is a narcissist. And that's why it's difficult for them to accept that they are wrong. And this person will go a step further to prove it to you, to try to prove it, even if it goes to the point of him hurting you. That's what Hitler was doing. We are better than Jews. We're better than black people. We're better than Chinese. We're better than Indians. The problem with narcissism is that it's actually, like I said, it's a mental disorder. They don't have a consistent way of thinking about themselves. So one time they are feeling very high about themselves, another time they are feeling very low about themselves. It's a mental disorder. People with narcissistic personality disorder are also more prone to mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, experiencing feelings of helplessness, and they have unstable personal relationships. Now let me try and wrap this up. Got like 20-something minutes. The thing about self-esteem is that you can improve your self-esteem. Hello. Self-esteem is not fixed, but rather viewed, I said this already, on a continuum, right? Meaning you can slide. Hello, it's not fixed. It's not as if you have poor self-esteem or low self-esteem, that is what you are. No, it's a continuum. And you can slide, you can move, you can change, meaning you can improve your self-esteem. You might have low self-confidence now because of what happened when you were growing up. But now that you are grown, you can develop new ways of seeing yourselves. Hello.